Okay, guys, Dave Duford here, back again. I hope you can hear me. Thank you guys for calling me out and making sure that I've got my deal together here. One more thing I'm going to adjust here real quick. Let's see here. That should be a little bit better. So I'm give me just a second, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Of course, technology always fails when you least need it to. Let me get back on my screen here, get set up so that we can get rolling. And give me 1 second here as I try to ad-lib myself to wherever we were talking about. So I think we're back on the screen. Okay, can we hear me? I can see the chat. If I can get some confirmation here that you guys can hear me, I'd appreciate it. Again, sorry for bailing out, and you guys figured out what happened. So again, if you're hearing me, just give me a thumbs up in the chat that you can hear me okay. Everything looks good. Hey, Jason, 52 Foreman, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, guys. All right, Mark, JL, how you doing? All right, so let me go ahead and redo this thing over again. So my name is David Duford at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producers. The purpose of today's video training and Q&A is really to answer questions about how the Seminar Marketing Mastery Program works and to give you all the information necessary to see if this is something that might fit what your goals are. In a nutshell, if you didn't join us for the original discussion or survey where I surveyed everybody about the interest in the program, essentially what I'm proposing here is a different way to work with insurance agents that not normally as I normally do it, where I have agents do direct mail predominantly to buy their own leads and have some kind of financial investment. One of the biggest impediments in this business is getting agents to get involved, and they understand they need to see people, go out and to sell them, to generate leads, but there's a problem. Either they can't buy leads or they won't buy leads. And there's all sorts of reasons why. This really isn't the place to discuss that or really get into those reasons, but the point is to possibly solve with a solution that can actually generate leads at virtually no cost, so there's a little cost, but pretty close to free, while also retaining the quality that direct mail has. And with the way we do it, the way I've done it for the past 3 years with my personal production at times as well as recruiting agents is with seminars. Seminar marketing is one of the least used but most effective ways to prospect for insurance business. And the seminars I'm talking about, again, to be completely clear, are not the kind that you send out 5,000 mailers to, a lot of money to get butts in the seats, and then do proposals for annuity or retirement business. These are basic seminars to groups that meet, that already are meeting, that want you to come in and speak, to kind of change things up and to keep things interesting. There's lots of them out there. And what I teach my agents to do is to put these programs together, to go out and find these people, and then develop a business model around marketing to these agents to have them basically generate their own leads where they can begin to sell insurance too. I just got done talking to an agent earlier today who had his 4th seminar in a week. He is up to at most 6 deals, at least 4, if not 6, on final expense. Again, all seminars that he set up over the last couple of weeks that he probably paid no more than $100 to put together with some of the things you kind of do, buying food and that kind of thing. And I just had another lady I talked to earlier who just got done getting a lead for a $100,000 whole life plan. And this is kind of a traditional type of policy. They're looking for disability income riders on it too as well. So pretty lucrative deals. And there are all sorts of deals like this sitting out here with an approach that's proven to get you leads and to get you results. So what I'm going to spend time without yabbering on anymore is to go right into the questions as they're proposed. So you can see here, this is kind of like a compilation, a bunch of questions. I'm going to try to keep this within the hour, otherwise my wife is going to disown me. We have 4 kids, by the way. By the way, I'm selling my 5-year-old twin girls, starting at $500. Best bidder wins. So it's a fall break here at the Duford residence, so we're kind of losing our mind. My hair is falling out as I speak. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and jump right into the questions here. And as you guys are listening, the chat is here for you. Ask any questions that you have. It's likely that I'll cover them, but please feel free to ask away. And then as I see questions come in, I'll jump in and answer those questions immediately. So first question here on the list is, what product should I start selling via seminars? And the ones that we teach agents to do usually are regarding annuity, final expense, med sups, or term mortgage protection. So yeah, hey Ryan, email me. Well, actually, look in the description box You can see all the questions. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ryan. You see all the questions in the box. If you go to the description box on the video you're watching, you'll see absolutely every single one of them. And I'm just going to go right down that list. So copy and paste them. If you still don't see them, just email me. I'll send them to you. Any email you get from me is fine. Reply back to that. I'll send them right over. Okay. So what product should you sell? It really comes down to what your personal preference is. If you've never sold any kind of insurance whatsoever, probably the easiest ones to work with would be final expense. That, to me, is the simplest product out of the mix here. These all aren't too terribly difficult products to learn. Final expense is a simple product that's used by a mass market of people, and there's all sorts of opportunities to reach these people. As far as learning final expense goes, it's a very simple product. It's a death benefit that you get when you die, right? It's not much more complicated than that, and our clients can easily understand it. So my first preference would be final expense. If you didn't like final expense or wanted to sell something else, I think the next one to look at possibly would be Medicare supplements. It's a pretty simple product. Medicare in itself can be a little complicated, but if you lead with Medicare supplements in the right stage, you'll be talking to people who understand it's basically, when you get done with your conversation, it's essentially a commodity product that is easily sold relative to, say, a Medicare Advantage plan. There's all sorts of compliance issues there. So I like final expense as a first pick. Medicare supplements are pretty good too as well. A lot of people ask the next question, which is, what is the typical close ratio for seminar marketing? So the typical close ratio for seminar marketing, generally speaking, let me kind of rephrase it in a couple of different ways because there's different ratios to be concerned about with closing. So the first one would be, well, so how many people, when you approach a facility or a group to request a speaking event, how many people actually agree to it? A surprisingly high amount do. I can tell you within the final expense field, approximately 7 out of 10 of those that you approach will agree to have you do a seminar, which is pretty incredible, right? You know, we're used to getting maybe 40 or 50% set ratios with prospects. Well, with seminars, since there's so few people doing them, it's a lot easier to get in the door and start talking about doing seminars. So you'll find that many of the times it's much more simpler to get it done. So you're going to have a lot more follow through with the bookings that you do and really get results quickly. Like I said, I had a guy who just started seminars like last week. He booked 15 over the phone, which is incredible. He's already run 5 of them. Guy's motivated, obviously. As far as the close ratio as to what you will get in your seminars, now that's a little bit different. So I never really measure the number of leads purchased and the number of presentations and the close ratios. What I can tell you is that based on my experience doing, hey, that's nice, Dwayne. Very good, man. Yeah, Dwayne says I did a seminar today and wrote 1 plus have 5 plus appointment to see 5 more people next week. Yeah, that's awesome. So, where was I going with this? Oh, here's how I teach agents to measure their success in a seminar. I believe that a good agent that follows the pathways that I describe, and I'm specifically talking about your simplified issue non-annuity products. So MedSups, mortgage, term products, and final expense. I think you should be able to do 1 closer to 2 policies per seminar. Now that may sound like not a lot, but you have to remember the powerful aspect of seminar marketing is the fact that you can generate a high ROI with a low investment. So specifically, you may spend $30 total on getting a seminar organized. If you only sell 2 policies and your average commission is $400 on each of them, it's low. You've made $800 for a half day's work is what it really amounts to. But the money, what it took to get that was just $30. Pretty good return, right? 30 into 80 is probably like, I don't know, it's you guys do the math, 27 or something like that, 26 and a half ROI. It's really good. There's very little risk for financial loss as opposed to direct mail. And sometimes as you get better, I've had agents who do way better than that. I've had agents that average 2 to 3, even 3 to 4 in some circumstances. Again, it's all in how you conduct the seminars, how you promote it the proper way, and get butts into seats in a sense. So there's a lot of opportunity. Even if you're not that good, and this is where I was when I was doing seminar marketing, I was doing 4, 5, even 6 a week. I was doing 2 a day, traveling overnight. This is like 3 years ago. And I would sell 1 or 2 policies per seminar. So I was making 5 to 10 sales per week off of that activity for very little investment beyond lodging and food and giving a gift card away to get people in. So there's really good opportunity. And even if you don't sell a lot of them, again, I don't care if 15 showed up and only sold 2. Who cares, right? You made 2 deals off of that many for a very low fee. So focus your attention on that, and I think all else will take care of itself. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so how many seminars can one book weekly, monthly? Can one agent handle an entire seminar? So I train my agents right now who do the seminar marketing, like Dwayne here. He'll reference this because he works with me, does seminar marketing. I teach my agents, if you want to treat this as a full-time profession and approach, you really need to do 2, maybe 3, really 10 to 15 seminars a month or 2 to 3 seminars a week. And the reason is this. Seminar marketing, although unique in the form of generating interest in business, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. It's just like lead generation. I can't expect to earn a full-time income off of 10 leads unless you're a savant at this business or have other sources for business. When it comes to seminar marketing, that's the same thing. At the end of the day, you've got to put in the input to get the output, right? And I'll tell you here, I'm not here glorifying how seminars are like manna from heaven and you're going to make all sorts of sales and people will throw their checkbooks and direct express cards at you. It's not the case. You're going to have busts. You're going to have bonanzas. You're going to have everything in between. I tell agents to expect 2 or 3 to be a bust. And this is out of 10, let's say your average 10 that you do. 2 or 3 or you're not going to write anything. 2 or 3, maybe 4, you're going to write your average, 1 or 2 cases. And then there's going to be 2 or 3 where you write like 3, 4, 5 plus. My agent who had the best show out for this wrote 10 applications on one seminar. But even if you wrote half of that, that's a really good showing. And what the average tends to be is that if you hit the 10 to 15 seminars a month approach, and that's a lot of activity and it's definitely full time, you're going to probably write about 20 to 25 cases. And this is a reasonable yet achievable goal. You should be able to achieve it if you're doing that many. And yes, you're not going to get away from not making any sales or being in a position where nobody, you run a seminar and nobody buys. You're going to still experience that, I guess what I'm trying to muddle around here and say. So, but you get the idea. And yes, you can handle the entire seminar yourself. So I want to be clear about that. You don't need help. You can bring help if you want it, but you can handle the entire thing because the essence of what we're doing in these seminars is essentially getting the cream off the top, okay? We're just looking for sets. We're just looking for people who are interested in what we have to offer. And what the seminar, the magic of the seminar allows us to do is really just to develop a relationship with these people. And then by the time you talk to them, you end up selling them. You just have to work out the details. And I think to kind of clarify what I mean by that is that imagine you listening to me right now on this live stream, right? You get to know who I am. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. At least most of you believe what I have to say, right? So you're in a position just like your clients would be if you're giving a seminar. You're in a position of authority and expertise. And by the time that they talk to you, they've already made it up in their mind that what you're saying sounds good. You sound like a good guy that wants to help them. And they're probably much more prone to doing business with you than if you worked a cold lead, such as a direct mail or telemarketed lead. Again, I'm not saying you can't get business with those. Obviously, you can. But there's a powerful effect. I had a guy comment on one of my videos, Claude Whitaker, who's a great sales trainer, by the way. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't. He says you're like a celebrity in their minds, and that's exactly the effect that you get when you do a seminar, so which is why I love doing them. Next question is, how many people show up to the seminars? How do I get them to show up? So totally depends. It's weird. Some of my best seminars have been smaller ones where I get 5 or 10 people to show up and I write half of them, okay? Some of my worst ones have been where I've had 30 show up and only write 2. Again, I've tried to come up with some kind of grand equation to tell you, how many people is good and what you're looking to go for. Sometimes I said 10% of the population if you're going to a residence or something like that, like a senior residence. But I don't care anymore. You're going to probably get 5, 10, 15 people is kind of what you're looking at, whether you're going to a small group that's getting together for a regular meeting, or you're going to a residence or something like that to speak to a group of people. You're not going in front of 100 people. It's very rare that you would actually do that. You're usually doing 5, 10, 15 people maximum groups. The way that you get them to show up is you do some preliminary marketing and promotional activities. Depends on the market that you're doing and what group you're going to. It could involve emails. It could involve posting up flyers. It could involve mailing stuff out, even though that's usually not the case. But there's different ways you got to do it. But the important thing is that I teach you how to do that, what to say, how to do it in this program. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is really the pivot, the keystone to making this thing work. Like if you ask Dwayne or anybody else out there who is in a position of doing this stuff, doing seminar marketing, you've got to get the word out. You've got to post the flyers up. You've got to let everybody know as soon as possible, close to the day that it's going to happen, that you're going to be there, you're going to share good information so that they remember to show up. It's important because without that sort of promotional effect, you're just not going to get anywhere. You'll run appointments for seminars and nobody show up. Okay, so what type of response do you get from decision makers when prospecting for seminars? How do you approach them? Okay, so the great thing is that decision makers generally are open-minded to having you in. If they meet in a group and it's a regular thing, it's likely they've had other people do or have you speak to, or have people speak to that group. And the thing is, again, here's the thing you got to understand. We're all used to hearing about the saturation of telemarketing, the saturation of direct mail. Well, there is no saturation effect, zero, in the speaking business, okay? In fact, it's the opposite. People are wanting speakers, and there's not enough of them. And we can thank speaking being the number one fear amongst Americans, being in our favor permanently for ad infinitum. Most people do not want to speak. They're deathly afraid of it. The fact that you guys are here listening to this and considering it is incredible because most people will not want to do it. Again, this message went out to thousands of people on my YouTube subscription list, to my email list, and if I talked about free, fresh direct mail leads, I'd have quadruple the amount, if not 10 times the amount of people listening to this right now. Obviously, with what people are listening to right now, there's obviously some interest and some capability in seeing yourself doing this, but this is proof positive in my mind that by the minority of people watching this, this proves how powerful marketing for seminars is. You're just not going to see a lot of people doing it. So with all that said, the way that you approach them is simple. You just say, hey, I do an educational approach or an educational talk on whatever your topic is, taking care of final expenses, the 5 top financial fears seniors face, if that's your market. And you describe what it's like, why people would benefit from it, and then ask for a time to do it. It's, again, surprisingly simple to book these appointments. I even has gone so far as using the E word. I don't like using the E word in these inflammatory language. It's kind of easy to get an appointment. You're not going to get a lot of pushback, and if you do, it's because of restrictions and allowing you to come in and do it, but depending on the facility or the rules, and you can't really overcome that. But otherwise, people are pretty excited to have people like you come in because you're doing a benefit and a service, informing and educating the public. And that's the strategy you have to come in. You're not coming in to do sales pitch. You're coming in to do an educational seminar to give value first. And of course, when you give value first, people give their money back. Time frame from start to finish, to finish the first, time frame from start to finish, first seminar delivered. Okay, I think we got this. So my agent Jason in Mississippi took him 14 days. Now that's unusual. It usually is about a 30-day turnaround. So what I mean is, like, if I went out tomorrow and I started prospecting for seminars, and I talked to a group and they said yes, I'm probably not going to get on their schedule till November. Most of these places operate a month in advance, these activity directors, groups that you meet. So it's unlikely that you'll get one the following day or the following week. If you might, again, I'll always say there's exceptions to rules. But conservatively speaking, the first 30 days are building your pipeline of seminar opportunities for the following month and the month after. And so that you start and set up those months really strong with your goals of your seminar. So it doesn't take too long. Let's see a couple of questions here. Ryan says, let's see here. Hopefully you're not. Can you guys hear me okay? Brett's saying he's losing me. Let's hope it's just him. Ryan says, do you typically contact activity directors at seminars? Yeah, so I think I answered the question. The answer is yes. It just depends on who is responsible for booking that stuff. Again, you always go in and ask for a manager, activity director, group administrator, whomever it is, and whatever it is you're targeting. There's a lot of different places you can go to. Thank you, 52 Foreman. So, yeah, if you need clarification on that, just let me know, and I'll be happy to run. Okay. How does the actual seminar go? That's the next question. So the actual seminar is pretty simple. It is, again, not a sales pitch, ladies and gentlemen. It is an educational seminar where people may happen to approach you to buy insurance. Okay? That's the mentality you have to have going into this thing. You have to have that going into this because that's how you get people convinced that you're not there to be Mr. Snake Oil salesman. So the presentation that I build and I help my agents build, for example, final expense, since that's most of the interest here, is going to be based off of really what the options are to take care of final expenses. It's a very short talk. It's like 10 or 15 minutes tops, guys. I mean, it's not, I say seminar, and I don't want to get too much off in a tangent. I say seminar because it's easy to conceptualize that. These are really brief talks, okay? We're not getting up in front of Mildred and talking and droning on for an hour and putting her to sleep. No, we're talking for maybe 10 minutes. Again, for the goal of generating the highly qualified leads that are sitting there ready to be entertained for prospects for life insurance. So, and that goes the same with any of the seminar methods I teach, is I keep them simple because what we're trying to do is just create expertise and interest, and then from that process, create those leads that are interested in that. Okay, so let's keep going here. Seminars versus paid lead generation. What's better? So that's a big topic to get into. I'm still of the persuasion paid lead generation has its advantages. It's a little bit more easier to scale in some circumstances. You can run a lot more appointments sometimes. However, I have to say, and I've been doing this since 2011. I'm not doing this, I promise, because I'm selling a new recruiting deal. I know it's hard to believe, but believe me if you will. If you don't, that's fine too. I always like seminar marketing the best. Out of all the different lead generation strategies, I loved seminar marketing the best. And it wasn't because it was free. It was because I got to create a real connection with real people. And I got to do it on a scale basis where one person, me, talked to many. And when I talked to them, they kind of knew what the deal was. Okay, I didn't have to go through some song and dance with a card that may or may not say life insurance. It may be government insurance or not. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have all that stuff to deal with. And so it was refreshing in that change. And it was just, hey, let me give you some information, and one or two you probably will buy. And it just got right to the point. The sales presentations went faster. It's all daytime work, guys. That's a huge benefit too. You're not working at night. You're working in the day when people meet. Right around lunchtime is usually the most common time to do a seminar. And it's just really simple to schedule and really simple to run. Why don't I advocate or recruit or haven't recruited for seminars? You may ask if this is so great. Well, the biggest problem with seminar marketing from a scale standpoint is that you noticed earlier I talked about how I was running 6 a week, and I was. But I was traveling I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is on the Georgia-Tennessee border. I would travel 5 hours north and everywhere in between to Louisville, Kentucky, and as far south as our now underwater city, Panama City Beach, 6-hour drive, and everywhere in between. So I turned into a road warrior pretty quickly. I'd leave Tuesday morning, wouldn't be back till Thursday evening, and with twins and a older son, just wasn't too hot to have with the fam, as you can imagine. So, but here's the thing. I operated in the standpoint where I really walked past a lot of speaking engagements that I should have done, or if I had known that there were going to be as good opportunities, that I probably could have reeled in that distance a lot more so than I did. And that's some of the things I teach in this program, how to do that. Let's see here. What kind of marketing do you offer? Hey, Eddie, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Lots. Today we're talking about the seminar marketing. That's kind of the purpose of this particular video. But we do marketing for agents for direct mail, telemarketing in a limited capacity, Facebook leads to some extent. My preferred choice is direct mail when the agent has the financial capability to pay for the leads. And what we're talking about today is the seminar marketing, which is my preferred choice when an agent doesn't have the financial capability or wants to intermix a cheaper, I want to say cheap, but a lower priced, higher quality lead generation process intermixed with whatever paid lead generation they're doing. So can I do this part-time? Absolutely. The only problem with doing this part-time is that most of the speaking engagements you're going to do are going to be during the day. So if your daytime job is 9 to 5, it may cancel out this opportunity altogether. If you do have some flexibility in your schedule, I say that you can absolutely do this. You could start at 10, 11, 12, get done by 3 or 4. If you have a couple days off in a week, this is perfect to do. Can I do this? What if I get stuck or choke? What support do you offer? Okay, so this is kind of like, well, how can I help personally if you work with me? Very simple. Again, I come with this with experience, both doing it myself and training others to do it. I know all the typical problems you'll run into and how to remedy them and to put you in the right direction. Of course, you've got to do the work. You've got to stand up there and give the speech. I'm not going to be able to substitute you to do it, but I promise you the hardest one that you'll ever do is the first one. I remember doing my first one and being extremely nervous. And then after that, did not care. You feel a little bit of the nerves, but you desensitize yourself, okay? The big secret with giving seminars is that people who speak get the jitters still, but they just ignore it. You become desensitized, just like other things in life. You accept the fear, live with it. It doesn't go away entirely, but it's manageable. And I promise you this is how this is. And the great thing is you're really coming into this as a professional and as an expert. And even if you're brand new to this, you know more than the average person does. Nobody's going to shout you down and call you an idiot like that. They're going to listen intently and be respectful. And they're going to appreciate the time that you spent taking time to help them out. So it's unlikely if the feeling of being choked or getting stuck is really going to follow through to the maximal extent that you can. Okay, a couple of questions here. Saeed asked, how do you invite people to the seminar? We promote it internally. If we go to a senior residence, we make sure we put flyers out. If we're going to a group meeting, we make sure to inform everybody. They're already going to be there anyway, so it'll be kind of a captive audience. So we kind of leverage kind of the existing assets and direction we have. Enline says, do you do any cold calling? And for the purposes of this particular, we are cold calling for the seminars, but again, a lot of these places are looking for you to approach them. They are very warm cold calls, if you will. As far as if you cold call in general, no, I don't really, although it does work for some people. In fact, one gentleman I work with, his name is Stephen Burgess. He does our annuity training. He cold calls and had cold called for his own annuity appointments for years. And he just got done writing a $625,000 annuity. It should pay $30,000 plus in commission, all off of a cold call. It's freaking crazy. So it does work. Okay. So how does training work? How long will it be till I'm ready? And how do I know which carriers to use? So training works like this. Again, the impetus of this seminar today is that you like the idea of doing seminar marketing and you want to partner with my organization to take advantage of it. So the way training would work is I would plug you into the seminar marketing strategy in conjunction with getting you up and running with a couple of carriers. It depends on what state you're in. If you got any other carriers as well, we'll work out the details. So it's kind of custom tailored. Either way, we pick good carriers that aren't going to be junky or anything like that. And then I help answer your questions. You get all the resources to get started. You can literally get started within a week. It doesn't take a long time to get started with seminar marketing, at least setting up the seminars. And then when you have questions, you call me. If you have questions about underwriting, carriers, anything like that, while you're in the field, you can call me. You can text me. If I don't get to you right away, I usually get back within an hour or two. If it's at the end of my workday, I'll call you first thing tomorrow. You'll always have support and help. And my agents can attest to that. I've been doing this for 5+ years with my agents, and support is king. And that's something that, again, my old business name was Final Expense Agent Mentor for a reason, because you need mentorship and support to be successful. How long will it be until I'm ready? You're ready right now. If you're watching this and you have an interest in doing this, all you have to do is pull the trigger. Is just study, get the script down, get the process down, and start talking and start walking and start setting up seminars. You need not wait a second longer. And again, I'll tell you what carriers to use. A couple questions here. Can you provide a flow chart or bullet list script for the final expense seminar? Hey, Ron, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Yes, what I do for the seminar, for the final expense, I don't have a written script, although I could get you one. but I've got a video where I did one live where you can see me talk. And what you would do is take notes on the topics I talked about. It's a very simple approach. I promise you it's way easier than you think. You don't want to go up there scripted. You want to have kind of in mind what topics to talk about and then rehearse in front of a mirror a couple of times those topics. So you kind of have a sense of, you want to be totally canned. You want to have a sense of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you're loose, but you're conversational as you're talking up there. So, and I go through that process with you. You see it for yourself, and then just take notes and formulate your own kind of version of what I did. The flow chart or bullet list for the final expense. Same thing for the other products as well. As I give a suggested outline, you fill in the details, and I can help you put together the pieces of that. Ben says, unfortunately, I have to go, but how often would you reschedule same place? Good question, Ben. Thanks for joining. It's every 4 to 6 months. I think 6 months is solid. It's going to depend too on the group. But I think once or twice a year is a good number to shoot for. And kind of where Ben's going with this is ultimately you develop your own list of people, right? You can go back to the same groups because groups change, new members, old members leave, fresh faces, maybe that weren't there that night that you did it. You're going to always have new people to talk to, and you develop relationships with these people, and they actually become centers of influence that can refer you business as well. Dwayne asks, your flyers work great. Buildings with 3 or more floors have had better success than complexes. I'll write 1 to 3 on most seminars, but I have a ton too that are robust. Absolutely. Dwayne's is a shining example of what's possible. Thank you, Mike. Cool. That sounds great. Thank you, Ron. Hey, Mike. Hi there. I'm interested in this business, but what if I want to sell people to my age, 28? You can. A lot of people recruit, and they teach what's called the Project 100. And that's essentially where you talk to your friends and family about the insurance that you sell. I don't do it personally. A lot of people have a problem with it. I used to be a little bit more of a Debbie Downer on the approach because it's like the idea and the cynics has you're bothering your friends and family, sell them insurance. Well, you know, if you're not comfortable selling them, then why would you be comfortable selling somebody else? But I say all that because I never did that. I sold my mother. She needed insurance, and she wouldn't have gotten it if I didn't sell her because I don't want to pay that bill. But you get the point. You can do that. Now, I will tell you this. The problem you may face while you could sell younger people is that I believe the premium sizes will be smaller. Unless you work with, people your age that are solidly middle class, they're making good money. They care more about just the insurance than just pure insurance. Your larger case sizes are going to be in the older populations, people who are business owners, people that like what we talk to. You're going to find a better sustainable business model that way. Not to talk you down from it, because you can be in a good position to help those friends. But unless you're selling the larger, more lucrative products versus just basic term insurance, which is what most 20 and 30-year-olds need, it's not going to pay a lot. Okay, let's see here. And feel free to follow up with a question if you'd like to. Jason, how hard is it to do annuities? I believe it's not as hard as one would think. Annuities are just like anything else. They're a product that most people are completely confused with. And if you go in and sound like you know what you're talking about and demonstrate your knowledge and expertise, then people will trust you. Now, the market we talk about, and you can, guys, for you interested, I did an annuity video a couple weeks ago. Look for it. It'll go into great detail here with Stephen, who recruits and trains agents to sell annuities. We target people who are not $500,000 plus, where there's a lot of competition. We target the smaller side, the group of people who are getting a bad deal, where they have products ridden with fees, and they're not getting the consultation advice they need. They're much more approachable because mostly nobody's really talking to them about it. So you're in a position to help them out a lot better than what they otherwise would get. But it's going to come down to your comfort level. I'm a big believer when you start in the business, you should pick a product you're comfortable with. Excuse me, guys. And for me, it was final expense. I felt annuities, first of all, seemed too technical when I first started, and I didn't want to screw up somebody's finances they worked so hard for. So play to your strengths and your comfort. Hey, James, this seems like a great fit. Good. Mike says, yes, I'm not into that. I want to go independent and sell term, or is FE the way to go? I'm not in MLF stuff. Thanks. Well, check out more of my material. Go to davidduford.com. And then look at the top at the menu. It says work in David's agency. The reason I suggest this, I'm not saying you have to join my agency, but I've got different videos and explanations of different products: final expense, mortgage protection, which is term, mortgage, Medicare supplements, and annuities. There's a lot of information there that'll help you kind of decide and hone down what kind of product you want to sell and at least give you some direction to go in. That's really important to do in the beginning. Ryan says, term offers little value in most cases, Mike, only benefit if the client dies. Thoughts on Golden Memorial? Thanks. Golden Memorial is Lincoln Heritage out of California. Man, Adam Hale, no, it's the Behringers, I think, that run there. Berrigans. Good people. They've been there forever. Very successful group of people. Adam Hale does a lot of their recruiting, and he's a very successful agent. He's got a great story. If you watch any of my videos, I'm not a captive guy. I train agents to be independent. I think there's all sorts of advantages, generally speaking. Better pay, better access to carriers, more freedom. But not everybody thrives in that environment, and a Lincoln Heritage or a captive environment would be better. You're welcome, Mike. Excuse me on the cough. Let me get some water here. Kind of going 40 minutes now. Keep this thing rolling. All right. What are the costs of doing business? Cheap. Nothing. You just show up and ask for the seminar. Now, to do the seminar, you can bring food. You may want to give a gift card away to entice showing up. You may have to pay for flyers, but you're not looking for much more than $30 per seminar. It is a low investment. It's not much of an investment at all. It's like the equivalent of one direct mail lead. That's what's crazy. All right. Why are you asking for $299 to teach this when you can do it for free? Okay, so this is a good question. You may be wondering, too, why I'm doing this. So I am a big believer that if you are going to do a good job in this business, you need to have some skin in the game. And this has always been my problem with recruiting for seminars, because everybody will say they're interested, but they'll never pull the first trigger. And you may be saying, well, how does that cost you anything? You don't have to invest any money in these people. Well, the thing is that if I spend a lot of time getting agents trained up and getting ready, getting aggressively ready, and they never take the first step to do anything, it's a lot of my time spent. And I'm in a position now where I'm what's called capacity. I work with a lot of agents. I am not in a position where I can really recruit anybody and everybody at a drop of a hat. I want to work with people that are serious about this business, that are serious about implementing. And the only thing I can think to make this happen is to get you to spend, or I should say invest money in yourself first to show that you're interested. Now, I'm not interested in selling the $299. I'm really interested in getting you successful so you're selling 20 policies a month, and I make that override. There's a lot more money in that override than there is in a one-time, one-off sale, okay? So the conclusion that I came to was to offer the product at the normal retail price and then get you, motivated to sell a minimum of 5 policies and then refund you for that difference. The reason I chose 5 is because 5 shows me that you've at least done something. That's probably going to be from 10 seminars, maybe less than that even. And that shows me that you care enough to go out there and put this thing into action. And by the fact that you put your money down, which to me $299 relative to the thousands you can spend in direct mail is a small price, it shows me that despite it, you're serious about yourself and you're willing to take the risk. So I only want a small threshold to be reached. I don't even care how big the policy sizes are. I thought about caring about that. I don't care if it's 5 $20 deals, okay? To me, it shows effort, it shows action, and it shows that I want to invest in a person like that. So that's why I'm doing that, because I just want to filter out the people that are serious about this approach, who are really excited about the idea of doing seminar marketing, because it really works great if it's implemented correctly. And I could care less about the $299, but it's my only way that I know how to differentiate from the people who want to take action and don't. So hopefully that kind of answers that question. 52 Foreman, they're both great things, Mike. I'm 23, but like Effie more than term. All depends on who you click with best. Yeah, you have to spend a lot of your time figuring out what market works best for you. There's a lot of different ones, and and some of them appeal better to others than others, and it's hard to know exactly what it's going to be until you kind of feel it out and figure out what it's going to be. So that's why I said go to my website, davidduford.com, click to start, join my agency here, link at the top, and that will just show you different products that you could sell and the pros and the cons to all of them. Can one stay local or have to work larger areas to stay busy? Depends. So I believe you can now stay local if you target enough of the right facilities. And when I say local, that means not overnight, within an hour to an hour and a half, not 15 minutes away. You're going to have to do a little bit of driving. I think we all can agree that's okay and normal. But I don't think you have to go spend overnight like what I was doing. It all is about successful planning, creating a target market list through doing some research, and really focusing on diversifying what you target. I used to teach agents to target one particular facility, but now we kind of mix it up so we can stay closer and make this a much more functional type of business. Can you cross-sell? Absolutely, you can absolutely cross-sell. The problem you'll find, though, with the final expense approach is that it's very hard to cross-sell other products, because most of our clients are going to be, if you target the senior seminar facilities, are going to be on Medicare Advantage. If you sell Advantage plans and you can do it compliantly, again, that's not my forte, great. You can certainly create leads later, too, I think. So there's that opportunity. And then there's also the opportunity to, if you go into other facilities that aren't necessarily senior residences, sure, you can sell other things. Again, you know me, if you've seen enough of my videos, I think cross-selling should be reserved for agents who have experience, who know and have mastered one particular product. I think, and this is how you should look at it, you develop all these leads, you make some sales, you're going to go back and see these people 6 months from now, right? When you repeat the same seminar, go back and talk to them about something else after you developed and have some kind of experience. So you're not going to lose them entirely, just go back and sell them something later. What if I work with another upline? Do I have to contract with you? What carriers, quotas? What's required? Okay, so I've thought about this. I think to make this the easiest implementation, I don't require all your contracts in this case. If you want to do the seminar program, I would require you to pick up 3 different carriers. Of course, to get the compensation on the package, you have to do the 5 policies. Not much to ask for. So you do have to contract with me on some limited level. Again, which carriers, it's just you and I will talk in a consultation, and then we'll make that determination then. What quotas are required? None. I'm not going to micromanage you, man. I'm not interested in doing that. That's why I'm in the insurance business. Just kind of have free spirit. You micromanage yourself. That's everybody's personal job, right? You don't need anybody else doing it. Why are we insurance? It's not to have a boss micromanage you, so I'm not going to care that much. I will try to get your business. If you do some business with me, I'm going to see if I can help you out in other ways too. Of course, through this process, I'll try to earn your business and would hopefully like to get more of it. Hopefully the carriers I have will improve your product mix. And, big effort, of course, of this is to increase my recruiting. That's part of my goal in my business, is to get more agents who are active and productive and earn their business. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that. How big is the competition for seminars? I answered it earlier, but it's very, very small. Seminar marketing is something that is not a big competitive issue. Hey, George, what's going on? Said I lost you. If you can't hear me, let me know. Just give me a comment below. Just not a lot of competition, not for the markets that we target. So you're kind of in a field of your own. You will have people time to time who do seminars too, but it's very unlikely. And definitely not as much as what you would see in direct mail or other things. Let's see what else here. Can you do seminars simultaneously with direct mail? Absolutely. Dwayne, perfect example. He commented earlier. He does a little direct mail, he does a little seminars. You can mix and match all day long. You just want to make sure you designate certain days for seminars and designate certain days for direct mail or whatever kind of thing you're doing. So yeah, you can absolutely mix these up. Is this a compliant practice? So what I teach is, that's why I don't teach Medicare Advantage agents to do this, because that's a compliance-driven product. You're going to get in trouble if you don't follow the rules. I don't know the rules, so I don't teach the rules. But for final expense, Medicare supplements, annuities, as well as mortgage protection term, there's not going to be any restrictions. With annuities, there's compliance and suitability and stuff, but that's more on the sales side. But on the information we give them is general, and it's not going to be product specific anyway, so it's doubtful that we're doing anything uncompliant. A couple of questions here. Ryan says, where is your seminar video posted? Do you have sample flyers? You have to work with me to get it, of course, Ryan. But yes, that's what you get when you decide to join the program. What kind of locations do you approach for FE? Hey, Ed. Just depends. Seminar facilities, senior facilities, any kind of groups where seniors live that act, or groups that meet and actively get together, and you want to approach those. There's a lot of those. We teach more of that in the program. Scared I might lose money on the investment. So this is kind of that reply back. Some of you may be thinking, well, you're going to ask me to spend or invest $299 myself. What if I don't make the sales? Well, sorry. I don't really have anything to say to try to assuage your interests. This is a risk. It's a calculated risk. You're going to go out there and take a chance on yourself, but the truth is there's no way to get around the reality that you got to risk something. I've tried to make this a low grade risk. I've tried to make it the threshold to return your investment at a low amount, which is just 5 policies. But I cannot sit up here and promise you that you'll actually do this. I would be lying. You know, there's probably people who will join and put the money up and not do it. But that is the risk that you take. And I don't know. I don't really have anything to try to convince. I'm not even really trying to convince you. If you don't believe in yourself that much, then don't do it. I wouldn't want you to waste your money. But that's what it takes in my setup here because of what I think is really important, which is you got to take a chance on yourself on some small amount. You will act in a much better way. You will take better action if there is something at risk. And it's all in mind with helping you, sort of. So, okay. Okay. Serious question here. Mike says, so if you want to be part of your agency, is it a must fly out there for the hands-on training? No, not at all, Mike. You can just work together over the phone. I've got several guys out there. Just started a guy, Mr. Wolf, in Stockton, California. Got a gentleman, I believe, south of there in Modesto. I think he lives a little bit south of there, even more so. And I got a handful of people down in sunny South California, or Southern California. So I don't care where you are, as long as you like the idea of working with me and you can pick up a phone and talk, text, I can do it all. That's fine. I got plenty of materials available to help train you, all visually based, online scripts, the whole ball of wax. Okay. Mike says, and this is why I like your style, straight up no BS props. Thanks, man. 52 Foreman says, what skin do you have in the game after returning $2.99? Are you making a commission after each sale? Yes. So the way, I'm glad you mentioned this. To be completely transparent, right? Why am I doing this? Well, because I want to make money like you do. I run an agency, and the way agencies make money is off of a percentage of your sale. So when you make a sale, I make a sale. And in the insurance business, recruiting is very lucrative if you recruit enough people who are consistent enough and produce consistently. So that's kind of the key. It's not just enough to have agents, you got to have agents that produce. So my goal, the dream we all have, that those of us that run an agency, is we want an agency full of producers. And so in my mind, I would much rather have, and this is why I don't mind, this is why I want to give the $2.99 back. I want to give it back to every single person that does, because if I get somebody to just make some sales and see some results, man, they usually get fired up, they get excited, and they get out there and produce, and they stick with it. And the money that I make off of overrides, that production, part of that production that you make, is way more lucrative than just a one-off sale for $299. Does that make sense? So it's a much better deal for me, while it's also a much better deal for you, right? You get your money back, and you now have a system to generate leads without all this investment in generating leads in a normal capacity. Hopefully that answers your question. Hey, Doug, how you doing? Good content. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's keep going here. Kind of getting close to the end of the list. This is the time to ask questions if you haven't already. I'm sure my wife is wondering when I'm going to end. I probably got 10 more minutes left of me before you know what hits the fan. Okay. Are there bad areas to do seminar marketing? You know, that's a good question. I think there's bad areas to do marketing for whatever insurance products you're selling. I have not seen that yet, though, with seminar marketing. As long as you approach an area that has the mixture of people that most likely will buy, I've seen great results. Again, when I did seminar marketing for Final Expense, I was in all sorts of cities. They're all really good, or they just weren't bad. You know, there wasn't some sort of grand equation that said that this area was good or this wasn't. It's all about the activity. It's all about the numbers. It's all about going out and seeing people. You just don't know where you're going to get. Like the lady I talked to earlier, Denise, her agent, did a seminar, and they've got a $100,000 whole life opportunity on a 48, 49-year-old. That's great. You know, it's like that stuff happens. You sometimes don't know what to expect. So I've not seen anything that's bad, as long as the agent is doing the numbers and the activity. What's bad is when the agent doesn't do it, and they're like, this sucks. I didn't sell anybody. I did 5 seminars this month, and I only sold 2 deals. This is crap. Well, you didn't do enough, okay? I'm sorry. I don't have anything other to say than you need to do more, because it is an activity base. Okay, you're welcome, James. Doug says, do you use video, PowerPoint, or other illustrations in your presentation? Good question. So for the final expense presentation, no. I am, as you will find if you haven't already, I am a lean, mean insurance policy producing machine. I do not like, I don't know, how would I say? The more complicated you make matters, the more complicated matters get, right? So I want you, and let me speak for myself, I want me to get up there with as minimal amount of distractions and things that could go wrong to do one thing, single solitary thing, and that is to produce qualified leads. A good talk is extremely powerful. I think sometimes, and don't get me wrong, I'm not chastising it, don't get me wrong. I just think PowerPoints can bore the crap out of people. Having a dynamic speaker, somebody who's up there speaking, making eye contact, just using a couple of notes is super powerful. You don't need a lot to do all this. Now, you can use handouts in some circumstances. I think that can be used in some of the Medicare annuities / term type of things that we do. But generally speaking, when it comes to final expense, again, speaking in final expenses, most people are interested, as the survey I did showed. You need nothing but yourself and your basic approach, and it works great. All right. Thank you, James. You're welcome, 52. Do you think seminars are better in rural areas? Actually, Eddie, yes, I do. Although my lady I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you hear her, she sold 10 policies at one seminar. That was in a metro urban environment. And I had actually sold there like 2 years prior and wrote like 5 deals there. So, but I don't know, rural areas tend to, I think it has to deal with the fact that they're smaller communities with smaller facilities, and word gets out a little bit better. People are a little more interconnected, and they don't get as much of this kind of attention as somebody in a city would. So, again, I would work both. I wouldn't just stick with, now I train agents to work rural areas predominantly if they can, as a first choice. But when it comes to direct mail, but when it comes to seminar marketing, I don't care. Just get in front of as many as possible. Don't try to sit there and qualify too much. Just get out there, see people, see seminars, book them, close the deals that come from them. Is this face-to-face or online? This is all face-to-face. I had somebody ask that. You're not online. No. Okay, last question here. How does the seminar generate leads? Well, this sounds like an obvious question. Well, you talk and people express interest, but I won't take the smart aleck response. The truth is, the way that you generate leads with this approach is that you're getting them to fill out a card to raffle for a prize, or not raffle, but to draw for a prize. And you require them to fill out the card in its entirety, not halfway like Mickey Mouse or Jane Fonda, and then none of the address stuff, right? You got to fill the whole card out, baby, if you want a chance to win this sleek new Walmart gift card. And if you don't, I'm just going to look at your card and then pass it over. And I tell them that so they know what to expect. So what you get from that are leads. Holy crap. And then you could do all sorts of things with that lead. You can say, yes, I am interested in final expense, Medicare, cancer insurance, whatever. You can actually do a very good job pre-qualifying on that card. So when you talk to them, you can make that conversation or that approach. If you door knock them or you call them on the phone and say, hey, you checked off on the card here. You wanted me to call you about Medicare supplements or final expense. And I promised, I always promise everybody that I would to follow up to do that, and then go into your appointment setting approach. So that's kind of the bait we put out. It's kind of like using bait to catch a critter, the critter being the lead. You got to have the right kind of bait. And gift cards and doing drawings is really powerful. Oh, man. Ron, you are speaking my language. Is there a link to sign up? It's like I sent you a check in the mail to say that. I'll get to that in just a second. Jason, there's my man. I was talking about it earlier. Seminar marketing is the easiest thing in the world. See, he said the E word. Again, this guy's my agent. Checks in the mail to him, too. Thanks for your help, David. They want it short and simple. So he's the guy I was talking about that set 15 seminars in his first round of calling. He didn't even show up, even though most of you guys will show up and you want to show up face-to-face. You can do it over the phone to set the seminars up. So now on to my good man, Ron Mitchell, who obviously is working in my stead. So how do you proceed forward? How do you get started on this particular program? So I'm going to make this super simple. as I am buying time here, finding the link I forgot to set up ahead of time, I am going to send and put in the chat, as well as if you're watching this after the fact, it's going to be in the description box, and it's also going to be in the comments. I'm going to set up hold on one second here while I do this. Sorry, this is all matter of fact on the spot. I'm going to give the actual link to go set up a time to speak with me to do the seminar marketing program. So you can just set a consultation with me. Hopefully this video has done a good job of answering what questions you have, but I know you probably have more, and that's completely fine. I try to, this is kind of a stab in the dark since I've never really done anything like this about what people will be concerned about, making sure everything's well addressed. But I know you probably have some specific questions, so I'm going to share my link right now in the chat, and then once this is over and done with, you'll see it in the comments. It's going to take you to my link where you can self-select the time to speak with me. You'll see a bunch of times show up this week, next week. Set a time, set it aside, excuse me, and just schedule a time of your choice. We'll spend 30 minutes talking about the process, answering any other final questions that you have, and then we'll get the process started with carriers, which ones you're going to work with me on, as well as getting payment arranged to pay for the seminar marketing program. I will ask you kindly that only please set a seminar or consultation with me if you're like pretty sure, like 90% or more, that you want to do this and you can spend or invest the $299 shortly after the call. If you're not 100% sure, if you're still kind of on the fence, don't set a consultation with me yet. Ask some questions in the comments below. Send me a private email. We can have an email conversation, help clarify some things. But leave the consultations, please, if you don't mind, to set up for the sake of those people who are ready to go forward. Jason, email me and we can talk privately regarding your question. And so again, if you look in the chat, you'll see the bit.ly link. I'm going to click on it, see what happens. So right now I've got Thursdays open, and then Monday through Thursday next week. Actually, it's been a light week for consultations with new agents, so go ahead and click there. Again, click and set up a time to whatever is most convenient for you, and make sure you have your questions ahead of time. You know what you want to ask me. That full 30 minutes is yours to make sure you got all your questions answered. And if you're pretty sure you want to do this, book. If you're not, shoot me a message. And again, be ready to pay for the program at the conclusion of the call. Do you work with individuals outside of the U.S.? No, I don't, unfortunately. I've played with the idea of going international with the Agent Mentor program. Somewhere like Canada. That would be great. We used to have a cottage in the family up there off of Lake Huron. It'd be nice to go back. But no, I don't, unfortunately. I'm sorry. And I have no clue who to refer you to either. You're more than welcome to buy the program or ask me any particular questions you like in an email, and I can kind of forward it and help you out, maybe customize it. Because ultimately, this whole thing doesn't matter where you are in the world. People are people, right? So you're going to find that the same kind of rules, the same kind of stipulations, the same kind of characteristics apply no matter where you are in the world, okay? So don't sweat it. You just have to kind of adapt it to wherever you are and what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, this is all just about helping people in a group format and then getting the business from that. So last call for questions. Again, I really appreciate the time that you guys have spent with me going over this program. Again, I'm putting if you're watching this at the end of the recording, look in the description box or the comments or in the chat. You should see a chat replay on the screen. Again, I'll put it in right now so you can see it pop up. Set up a time to speak with me if this is something you're ready to move forward on. I'm pretty ready. And all else fails, just shoot me an email. Any of the emails you receive from me, just reply. I read them all, and I'll be happy to help you out. So I think we're done. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Dave Duford signing out, and I am off to put the kids to bed. Woohoo! All right, guys. Take